Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be trying out gouache for the first time. So what is gouache? Well, here's my dumbed down version of what it basically is. At first I considered it to be a mix of acrylic and watercolor just because of how it acted like watercolor and how it was opaque like acrylic. However, if I had to compare the two, I would honestly say that it's a mix of watercolor and craft paint, just because of the matte finish it gives when it's dry. Because acrylic creates this plastic kind of appearance at the end. Now, when I swatched all three mediums as a comparison, notice how the craft paint and the gouache look almost exactly the same, while the acrylic paint has that plastic appearance when it's dry. It does look wet from the way the light reflects it, but I guarantee that it actually is dry, I promise. I actually misjudged how much paint I actually put on the page, so that's why there's so much more acrylic. However, the technical definition of gouache is a method of painting using opaque pigments ground in water and thickened with glue-like substance, or basically, opaque watercolor. So, what are some of the benefits of gouache? Well, one of them is that it's opaque. While I love watercolor, one blessing and a curse is that it's transparent. Because of this, it is not easy to correct a mistake. However, with gouache, you can easily correct mistakes because of its opacity. Not only that, but since gouache and watercolor do have similar qualities, gouache will reactivate like watercolor when they become wet. The second benefit is that it dries very quick, making it very easy to work fast if you have a deadline or simply do not have the patience to wait for it to dry. The third is not necessarily a benefit, but a personal preference. At times, I don't actually favor the plastic kind of appearance acrylic paint has whenever it is put onto the canvas. I love that the medium dries in a matte finish. The fourth benefit of gouache is that while it works the best on watercolor paper, you can simply use it on thick drawing paper as well as canvas. The fifth benefit is that you can lay it onto the canvas or page in whatever thickness you desire, thick or thin. What I love about these colors is that I have just the right colors I need to mix them into certain shades or hues that I want, and they're very vibrant. Another thing I noticed was when I put it onto the paper, I was almost convinced that I was working with watercolor, so that was cool. Anyway, let's talk about the piece a little bit. I decided to do something a little out of my normal bright, kind of happier pieces. I didn't want to make the piece dark per se, so I decided to do a skull but add some flowers just to kind of give it a little bit of a hopeful feeling and not make it quite as dark and yeah. I decided to sketch out a skull as the main part of the piece. I did a rough sketch beforehand and then decided to look off my sketch as a reference as I drew from the actual piece. I was actually very nervous to draw this because one, I rarely paint things in this sort of style, and two, I've only sketched out 2 skulls prior to this video, but overall, I was really happy with the final result. To keep the piece from having a dark overall appearance, I did add the flowers and bring a bit more of a hopeful feeling to the piece. Since I did have a limited palette, I did have to mix some colors to get the desired effect, which brings me to the next thing I tried for the first time today, palette paper. So, what is so great about this Gray Matters palette paper? First of all, it is very portable. For a person like me who likes to paint on the go sometimes, I found this very convenient. Much like actual palette surfaces, it was very smooth. This made it very easy to mix colors. Because the palette paper was toned gray, it provided a neutral backdrop for the colors. Because of this neutral background, the colors seem to pop more whenever you put the colors on the gray paper compared to if you put it on the white paper. This is a very good thing because it makes mixing colors more accurate. Plus, you do not have to clean your palette paper. You can simply tear out the page and throw it away. As I painted, I noticed on the back of the front page that it showed a chart of complementary colors. This was especially helpful because it created an interesting visual for the pictures. And I think it made them stand out. While I did not film my entire painting process for this piece, I did refer to the chart multiple times to see what colors would look the best next to which ones. I tried my best to put as many complementary colors as close as possible. Now onto the brushes. While I have tried the Gray Matters brush before, this brush did not fail to disappoint. Since sizes indicate how large or small a brush is, I used the number 5 round brush for details and the number 2 round brush for super small details, such as a little highlight on the flowers and other plants. I used the same mindset when using the flat brushes to fill in the black background, using the number 4 to cover large areas and the number 2 flat brush to cover smaller areas, and so on. So, what are the benefits of these brushes? One benefit is that they could hold in a lot of water, therefore making it able to hold a lot of pigment. Another thing I loved about these brushes were that they had a nice snap to them, making them very easy to work with. Because of the snap to the brush, the paint did exactly what I intended it to. Another thing that is great about these brushes is that they do not have shiny metals or reflective hair on the bristles. The neutral gray keeps color distortion minimal. While some people may not think this is anything important, distractions like shiny metal and reflective bristles are something your brain is forced to try and block as you paint. Overall, what was my opinion of these supplies? I absolutely loved the paint. I came in not knowing what to expect from gouache, and I am really happy to say I look forward to using it again in the future. They acted exactly like watercolor, so I was really comfortable using the medium. I also loved the matte look to it when it dried, and how you could layer them, and I was really happy on how opaque the gouache was compared to watercolors. I loved how convenient the paper was, and I was super happy that I did not have to clean off a palette. The brushes had such a nice snap, making the colors easy to control. They also held so much water and pigment as well. I am also super happy with how the piece turned out. I was super nervous, and I honestly did not know if it would turn out well. The sketch was super nice, and I was almost tempted to make a copy of the sketch just in case I really messed up on this painting. But I really wanted it to be my original work and not just a copy of my work. So I just decided to go for it, and I'm really happy I did because I think it looks great, in all honesty. Now I do want to apologize for posting this so late. If I wasn't on a schedule, I would have just set this video to premiere tomorrow. However, since I did promise to post videos on Mondays and Thursdays, I went through it. I went through with it, so here you go. Yeah, if you really want to know when I post, since I do not have a set time just yet because school has just started, I would recommend turning on those post notifications so you know when I post. That being said, while we are on the subject of school, I cannot guarantee if I will be able to keep up this schedule. I hope I will. I do have a plan. I think that I will be able to post a regular video on Mondays as usual, and on Thursdays maybe posting another art journal video every Thursday, just simply because it's easier, not because I don't put effort into my art journal videos, but just because it's easier because one, I do not have to do voiceovers, and two, I do not have to plan a piece way before I decide to film a video because my art journal videos are based off of intuition. Anyway, since we're around the closing of the video, I will start off by apologizing for posting my video at 10 o'clock at night, at least if you live in my time zone. I'm not sure what time zones you live in. But anyway, if you want your artwork featured on my channel, do check out the details in the description down below. If you want these art supplies for yourself, I have links to them in the description as well. And as always, if you want to check out my art Instagram, I'll link that down below. And I will see you guys next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you later. Take care, guys.